Right, you lot, let's talk Villa. Yes, I am back in the Deadpool dressing gown today. I've put the hoodie up because Bills wasn't happy with it. So that's up there. Hair and makeup today said, you know what, you look fly in the Deadpool dressing gown. It's early in the morning. I've got work a little bit later on, but I have to get this video recorded for you guys. And today we are going to be previewing the Everton game. We're back in the Premier League for the first time since I've started uploading again against Everton at Goodison Park on Sunday. It is Thursday as I record this. I'm going to probably put this video out on Saturday. So obviously press conference in terms of injuries hasn't come out just yet. But nevertheless, we are going to get straight into it. I'm going to start the screen recording for the, well, it's not famous at all, is it? But it's the Let's Talk Villa X account, which you should be able to see on the screen now. We're going to scroll down to the poll for today's video, which is, right, my Aston Villa fan poll for the next video I'll be filming down below. As we look to the Everton game this Sunday, how are you guys feeling about how it will play out? Comment your score predictions and goal scorers below too. No one done that. Why are you all camera shy? Get your comments down below for the next one. If you are watching this video, head over to my X, follow it. I put a poll out before every video to give you guys a chance to interact with me going forward as well. I'll always be doing this because it gives you guys a chance, and I'll read out any of the replies as well. But as you can see here, from 19 votes, there is still a little bit of time left on it, but 19 votes, we have a 58% win, 37% draw, and 5% lose. So you can tell there's a bit of trepidation going into this game. I think a lot of people are worried about our dip in form, but maybe Everton are having a dip in form as well, which we'll look into a little bit later on. But of course, there is that little bit of worry. We are going to Goodison. Everton are on a bit of a better run since their point deduction. It's not going to be the same Everton that we beat 4-0 on the second day of the season. They're going to be better. I think we all know that. Sean Dyche is starting to drill his philosophy into them. 5% lose, so there are some people really not confident at all, but the overwhelming majority think we're going to win, which is what I think personally as well, although I do think it will be a tight game. But let's get into what I think Villa will look like heading into Goodison Park. So on the screen now, I'll move out of the way to make some room for it. You can see my Aston Villa starting lineup for this game. And I've gone back to full strength. In terms of injuries, Yuri and Powell were going to be the two players that were a bit touch and go, but their return dates have both been touted to be in or around this Everton game. So I'm hopeful that Powell will come back into the starting lineup and Yuri will probably drop down onto the bench, which we'll get into a little bit later. But as you can see, I'm doing like a weatherman, aren't I? Like there's going to be gales of Watkins up front with a little hint of Diaby shining through the clouds. I think that'll be our start partnership for this game. I think it's the strongest way we can go back into it. Like I say, I think we're going to be full strength for the first time in a while. On the wings / inverted wingers, I've gone for Bailey and John McGinn. Captain, fantastic as well to be back to his position that he has flourished in this season, because we are finally back to full strength in midfield after 3 games of Kamara's suspension. He slots right in next to Luiz, and that is, I mean, that's a midfield that will win you games on its own. In defence, Moreno, don't think Dinas is close to being back yet. There was a few positive reports that he has returned to light training recently, but obviously light training and being match fit are two completely different things. So Moreno keeps his spot there. Cash keeps his spot after his FA Cup deflection heroics, and that leaves us, hopefully, fingers crossed, with Pau Torres back in the starting lineup in defence next to one of the best defenders in the Premier League, Ezri Konsa, to protect the world's best goalkeeper, Emi Martinez. And when you put it like that, we really shouldn't be losing this game. On the bench, which won't be on the screen, but I can talk through how I would probably set it up, would be Yuri Tielemans to come on, probably for Diaby if he's not being impactful, or Bailey, whichever one needs a rest, aka isn't being most impactful in the game, and then slot into that second striker role, which he really started to flourish under. Obviously, we're going to have Longley and Diego Carlos on the bench if any of our centre-backs need a rest, and or if Matty Cash is getting a bit tired or making a few mistakes in the game, we could obviously push Konsa out to right-back, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it is what it is, and we can have those centre-backs to come on. Zaniolo, of course, is always an option if Bailey or Diaby, whoever doesn't come off for Tielemans, is getting a bit tired. And then we always have John Duran, who Emery apparently really wants to keep at the club, which again means that he surely is going to get a little bit of playing time. And then last but not least, in terms of substitutes I could see coming on, maybe Tim, if he is Kamara or Louise needs a rest, and then obviously we have JJ as well. There's 5 subs. It makes sense to use them and rotate at this point of the season. We've got another FA Cup game against Chelsea coming up at the end of January, and then we only have a month off really in February before we get back into Europe action in March. So that's my starting lineup and who I think could come off of the subs bench. Let's move on to Everton. So with Everton, I have transported myself into the top corner of your screen, and as you can see down below me, we have Everton's form guide as well as their most recent Premier League lineup. They switch between a 4-2-3-1 and a 5-4-1, so they might be pretty much similar to this. Their last Premier League lineup, which was a 3-0 defeat to Wolves, was in that 5-4-1 formation. The biggest team news coming out of Everton that I can think of before they obviously have their pre-match press conference with Daisha is that Dwight McNeil might not be available for this game due to an injury which he picked up, I think in the FA Cup or League Cup. I can't remember which one it was they played in. It would have been the FA Cup they played in. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin's ridiculous red card, I don't know how on earth that was a red card in the first place, has officially been overturned, so he will be available for this game and more than likely leading the line for them. But I can't see them changing too much from that sort of formation or team from the Wolves game. I think they'll probably try and sit in against Villa, a team that historically, or well, not even historically, but this season have struggled when teams dig themselves in, play that low block and flood midfield. So I think that'll probably be what Sean, and we know a Sean Dyche team is resolute as well. They'll defend for their lives. There's certain players you just can't see ever coming out of that team. Tarkowski, Pickford, Dwight McNeil, if he is of course fit, he'll definitely be playing, but that is a bit touch and go. And they have a decent team. There is some interest obviously from Arsenal for Onana. Will that unsettle him? Will he even be in the starting lineup? That seems to be at an advanced stage, so that's one to look for as well if he'll be starting. But if he is a fantastic midfielder as well. But I think our midfield should be able to overrun him in there as well, because Kamara and Louise are both world class. And below, obviously, you can see the form guide. I've included their last 3 Premier League games, which are 3 losses. But of course, let's not forget, before that, I think they went on a 4-game winning streak, including a comfortable 3-0 victory over Newcastle, as well as a 2-0 victory over Chelsea. So they are not to be messed around with. Sean Dyche sets his teams up so well. He gets results, he gets success. And they're not in the relegation zone even after their 10-point deduction. So that tells you everything you need to know about the resoluteness of this team and why we should possibly be a bit concerned going up to their stomping ground in Goodison Park, which I'm sure they'll be trying to make a fortress this season. So in terms of my prediction for this game, let's run through a couple of things. Everton are on a dip of form, and they might be without probably one of their most creative players in Dwight McNeil for this game. However, they are at home. They have had good runs in them since this 10-point deduction, and they might want to get back on track after losing 3 on the bounce in the Premier League. I know Sean Dyche won't be happy with that, and he'll be drilling his players. This will be such an important game, and they can get results against the big boys. We've seen them do it against Chelsea and Newcastle this season. Fair enough, they are stuttering, but they also went 1-0 up against City before losing, and I think that was just sort of City just run them ragged, didn't they? And I'm hoping that's what Villa can do. We look at Villa's form over the festive period. Like I say, after that Arsenal, to be fair, even in the Arsenal game, pretty much since the Man City game, we haven't really looked all there. I think it's fair to say we've looked a bit lacklustre. We've looked like a bit leggy, obviously. Still no new signings that will be slotting in to the team. There have been a couple of links coming out to Zaha and Dybala again, although as I record this video, it is the 11th of January, and that contract clause runs out on the 15th, so we'd have to do that soon if we were going to do it. But we have looked a bit leggy, but I do think, that FA Cup win, yes, it was scrappy, yes, it's only Middlesbrough, but to get past that mental block of not getting past the 3rd round for I think it was 106 years, but someone will have to fact check me on that. That will be a big boost for the players. It'll be a big boost for Matty Cash to get that goal, and obviously another clean sheet to add to the defenders' bow as well. And I just think we should, all things considered, we're second in the Premier League. We should just have too much for this Everton team. We need to stick to our game. I know Emery's going to have been working on defend or beating that low block so much. He's mentioned it now. He's vocalised that they want to work on that, and what a perfect time to show off that we have been working on that and we can break down a low block than against Everton. The keys to this game for me are going to be that midfield battle, having Luiz and Kamara back in that midfield. I really do feel confident going into it. And Pau Torres, if he is fit, I hope he starts with Concert at the centre-back role, and I feel like that would... I mean, they can nullify a player like Dominic Calvert-Lewin so bloody easily. I don't think that is going to be an issue. And then Ollie Watkins has had a few blanks as well, so it'll be important to get him back firing. We did beat Everton 4-0 earlier in the season at Villa Park. I don't think it's going to be quite that scoreline. However, like I say, I'm always confident going into a game where Ezri Konsa and Pau Torres are my centre-backs. So I'm going to stick to that, even though I know the pre-match press conference may have come out and it may be different. But I still think we'll be able to pick up a clean sheet against Everton if they don't have Dwight McNeil in the team. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory with, drumroll, no, I can't, I don't want to edit that into the game. It's going to be this man, Ollie Watkins, to get his first goal in a hot minute. I think assisted by, who else but Leon Bailey. And I think we're going to get that goal nice and early, I hope so, and then just have a comfortable game. And that game, a win on that game will put us up to 45 points, right where we need to be at this time of the season. So that's how I think it's going to play out. How do you guys think it's going to play out? Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you are enjoying the content, and as always, be nice to everyone.